Indonesia presidential trade envoy Pangestu also spoke at the summit. She told CNA that the recent stock market plunge was not unprecedented, assuring the situation can be remedied. She spoke with CNA senior correspondent Saifulbahri Ismail and started by talking about trade negotiations with the U.S.
I think what were some of the issues that we had to try to deal with in the negotiations is to make sure there's balance, that it's not just unilateral. And that's been, I think, somewhat achieved, so that it's not just us giving market access and agreeing to purchase U.S. goods, which is to address the issue of the deficit, but to also get market access to the U.S. for the products that are important for us. So I believe that in the current negotiation, which is already finalized actually, that we will be able to get some preferential access below the 19% reciprocal tariff. Secondly, I think it's not just about trade, it's also about investment, how to get partnerships, strategic partnerships with the U.S. on getting U.S. to be more involved in our part of the world for some of the sectors that they are also concerned with, whether it's critical minerals, whether it's pharmaceuticals, and so on.
What worries you the most about the global economic outlook, and where do you see the biggest opportunity for Indonesia?
Well, I think in terms of the global situation, I think everybody is saying basically the uncertainty is here to stay, and that the rupture in the multilateral order, whether it's not just in trade, as we know recently, it is not just in trade but also in the UN convention and so on. It's here to stay. So it's not like it's going to go back to anything that we knew before. So we should accept that this time it's different, and therefore our response cannot be business as usual, right? So that's one dimension of it. Be prepared to be more, to face a world that is going to be more uncertain. Therefore, you've got to be more agile. You've got to diversify. I think what we need to do is really to respond by building our domestic resilience, and that is about the domestic policies that we need to undertake, like reforms, deregulation, to be able to make our economies more efficient.
Now, with regards to domestic resilience, to what extent do you think that the massive sell-off in the Indonesian stock exchange will have an impact on Indonesia's growth targets?
I think it was an event that is not unprecedented, let's put it that way. I think shocks in the stock market happen every now and then, and I think this time it was in a way linked to issues that we knew had to be addressed related to transparency and liquidity of the market. And I think what has happened in response has calmed down the stock market. The stocks which have strong fundamentals actually either rebounded or remained steady, right? But more importantly, I think broadly speaking, the Indonesian economy, the fundamentals are still sound and robust. Fiscal discipline is still there. I believe the Minister of Finance has already emphasized, as well as the coordinating minister, that we intend to keep to the 3% budget deficit to GDP ratio, and this year will be another challenge for the fiscal policy, but I think there are issues that we can do under the fiscal policy. And more importantly, actually consumer confidence has picked up. Our exports did very well. We had a 30% increase in our trade balance, and the PMI also went up in the last few months. And we believe that the figures of GDP that will be announced on the 5th of February hopefully will also look good for the fourth quarter and including the first quarter. So now the issue is how do we maintain the growth, and that is about the policy direction, the reforms and deregulation which the President has announced since last year, including in the stock market, not just in the stock market but also in the wider real sector.